The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca Williamson and Shay Carroll. Taking stories from today's news, Rebecca and Shay will explore everything from the paranormal, supernatural, the strange and unusual, unsolved mysteries, and more. Join them as they dive deep into the unknown and mysterious. Taken from news headlines, water cooler chats with a paranormal twist and sarcasm. Be sure to join the Facebook group Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca and Shay for behind the scenes info, articles, and all updates. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Exploring the Unknown. I'm Shay Carroll.
And I'm Rebecca Williamson.
Hey, Becca. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we are doing kind of like a follow-up on a true crime case, which is Shay's favorite is true crime.
It is. It really is.
She's the true crime expert.
That's putting it nicely, but I tried.
Compared to me, she is.
I tried.
So this one is a CNN article. This is an older article. It's from December 8th, 2021. Scott Peterson sentenced to life in prison after being spared a death sentence. Shay and I have already decided that anybody with the last name of Peterson we will not date because
3 of them.
they are more than likely going to be a serial killer.
I'm sorry. All right. There's Drew Peterson, Scott Peterson, and Michael Peterson? Is that... What's the other one? The staircase killer. They're all serial killers.
There's a lot of Petersons. There is. So, anyway, yeah.
My mother did... Wait. 2 seconds. My mother didn't believe me, and I made her watch all the documentaries on each and every one. I'm like, look. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep, exactly. So this one is Scott Peterson.
Scott, yes.
Okay. So Scott Peterson has been resentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the deaths of his wife and unborn child, a California judge ruled on Wednesday. Peterson, 49, was convicted in 2004 for the murders of his wife, Lacey, and their unborn son, Connor. Peterson was originally sentenced to death. In August 2020, the California Supreme Court reversed Peterson's death sentence after finding that potential jurors were dismissed erroneously, in part because they expressed general objections to the death penalty on a questionnaire. Judge Anne Christine Masallo on Wednesday ordered Peterson to serve life in prison without the possibility of parole for the first-degree murder of Lacey and a concurrent sentence of 15 years to life for the second-degree murder of Connor. Lacey Peterson's family members tearfully addressed Peterson in court. You didn't want the responsibility of raising a father. You're a coward, Lacey's mother, Sharon Rocha, said.
Amen.
Yeah, no kidding. She also spoke of the young man Connor never became. He would have been 18 years old by now.
How the crap? 18? Isn't that
It does not seem like it's been that long ago.
No.
It does not seem like it's been that long ago.
That is crazy. Can you imagine those cops? All right, sorry. Gruesome. I'm about to be gruesome, so can you imagine those cops that found that dead baby body and now have to think of him as 18 years old?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why she's pointing this out is,
yes,
he would have been an adult now, and
he would have done so much and been able
so
to go so far.
So much potential is wasted when a child dies like that. he would have been 18 years old by now. 10 months ago, you would have been free of child support and not have to worry about being responsible for a child, Rocha said. She said, 2 things will never change. Lacey and Connor will always be dead, and you will always be their murderer.
Yep.
So true.
Amen.
So true.
Fucking men. Sorry.
The legal saga leading up to resentencing. Lacey Peterson, 7 months pregnant with Connor, was reported missing on December 24th of 2002. Their bodies washed ashore and were found separately in April of 2003. A jury convicted Scott of their murders, and he was formally sentenced to death in 2005. Prior to Wednesday, Peterson had been in prison limbo since the California Supreme Court reversed his death sentence in August of 2020 for murdering his wife and unborn child. Stanislaus County District Attorney Bridget Flagger, I probably just butchered her last name, but well with it there, said earlier this year she would not seek to reinstate the death penalty after consulting with the victim's family, who said the process is simply too painful to endure once again. And yeah, I mean, even this whole resentencing thing is horrible for the victim's family.
Yeah, but he had, I don't know when this was, he had again, sorry, that was just me stuttering. But again, there's so many Petersons, I might mix them up. But I'm pretty sure Scott Peterson had multiple trials and was still found guilty.
Yeah.
Again, it could be for just to protect ourselves. It could be one of the other Petersons, but I'm pretty sure Drew Peterson had a separate trial.
It's so confusing with all the Petersons right now.
It is, I'm telling you. Oh my God.
Just saying. It's confusing with all the different Petersons. So, but yeah. The people submit to the court that the only sentence available for this defendant is a sentence of life without the possibility of parole plus 15 years to life for the murders of Lacey and Connor, Peterson's wife and unborn son, the prosecutor's December 1st filing stated. The resentencing comes amid yet another legal tangle in Peterson's case. In October 2020, the California Supreme Court ordered a lower court to examine the murder convictions because a juror did not disclose involvement in other legal proceedings.
Yeah. But he was found guilty again.
I was going to say, this is just so ridiculous that they would keep opening this up and hashing it back out. Juror number 7 committed prejudicial misconduct by not closing her prior involvement with other legal proceedings, including but not limited to being the victim of a crime, the court wrote. Peterson's lawyers said the juror's answers on her voir dire questionnaire were false, and she committed misconduct, which raised the presumption of prejudice.
Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, they're just picking this thing apart. Like,
blah,
lawyers,
blah, blah, blah. Again.
Lawyers. Peterson was sentenced to death in 2005 for the 2002 murders of Lacey and Connor, what was arguably one of the most publicized trials in recent memory.
Yeah.
But in 2020,
we all know how those trial of the centuries go.
Oh, yeah, there's one every other month.
Yeah.
Then in 2020, the state's highest court found prospective jurors were dismissed in error, and they expressed general objections to the death penalty on the questionnaire. Here, the trial court erroneously dismissed many prospective jurors because of written questionnaire responses expressing opposition to the death penalty, even though the jurors gave no indication that their views would prevent them from following the law. And indeed specifically attested in their questionnaire responses that they would have no such difficulty, the court wrote in its 2020 decision. I mean, on one hand, yes, they definitely have a point here. That
they do.
Yes. I understand.
Everybody deserves a fair trial. But
right. Everyone deserves a fair trial.
He killed them.
Yeah, I was going to say, this one, like, I mean, I don't know. From our perspective, there's no question this guy did it. Is he entitled to a fair trial? Yeah, but how about calling your girlfriend Amber from the the vigil? They're having a vigil for his wife and son that died, and he calls his
mistress, Amber,
Yeah.
during it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was not a whole lot of questions about whether this guy did it.
We have to do Mr. Drew Peterson.
Yes.
Again. No. Oh
Prosecutors
my God.
charged-
We have to block out 2 hours for that. I'm not even kidding, because
there's a lot to that one too. Yeah.
Oh.
Prosecutors charged that Scott Peterson killed her at their Modesto home, then dumped her body in the San Francisco Bay from a fishing boat he had recently bought.
Yep.
Peterson had always maintained his innocence, and appeals have focused on various aspects of the trial, including the publicity surrounding it and the way the jurors were chosen, and evidence admitted and not admitted at trial, and on prosecutorial statements.
Really?
A slew of circumstantial...
Hold on. Time out.
Yeah.
All right. The fishing boat he bought was in a secret a storage unit that nobody knew about. Both of them. That's where he stored it until he killed her.
Right? He was definitely planning.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Planned out.
Yep. Go on.
Peterson has always maintained... Oh, yeah. Sorry. Back up. Okay. A slew of circumstantial evidence convinced the jury of his guilt, including testimony from a woman who said that she had been dating Peterson, who pretended to be single, and the fact Peterson claimed to be fishing on the San Francisco Bay the day his wife disappeared.
Day before.
I'd say that's a little bit more than circumstantial. I mean...
Amber. That's the girl's name, Amber. I'm not going to use her last name because she had nothing to do with it. Nothing.
No, she was just dating somebody. I mean, not like she said, "Hey, off your wife because I want to be with you."
No,
it's not like that. She was just dating this guy. She had no clue. No clue at all.
No, but yeah.
The court on November 23rd ordered Peterson to be transported from the San Quentin State Prison to the San Mateo County Jail for the resentencing. Governor Gavin Newsom issued a moratorium on the death penalty in 2019. And the moratorium is only in effect while Newsom is in office. California has not executed an inmate since 2006. And so, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to go between the due process. You don't want to convict somebody who's innocent. You want to make sure that everybody is given a fair trial.
You
but
don't want
at the
to
same point
kill.
in time,
you don't want to kill somebody that is innocent. There's a difference.
Right.
So who? I don't know.
But 18 years to be going back and forth in court on the same case is.
Sorry.
It's so that hard for the victim's family because. You want to be there. You want to be there for all that stuff. You want to make sure that the person who is responsible is convicted.
And who wants to say their son-in-law killed their daughter?
Right. But at the same point in time, we're 18 years. 18 years
Can
of
you
going
believe
back
that?
and forth to court.
18? Oh.
That just seems so wild to me that it's been that long.
Me too.
So wild.
Yeah.
And sad. So sad for that family that is being put through that.
I think the mother's name's Sharon.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. And she keeps this. Sorry if that's not the right name, but she keeps that She keeps the story in the forefront. That's why we keep talking about it.
Right. She does a really good job of making sure that we don't forget Lacey. That Lacey and Connor aren't forgotten. And, I mean, because I think a lot of time on these serial killer cases, we forget about the victims. We concentrate so much on that killer person that we forget the victims. And Lacey's mom does an excellent job of making sure that we don't forget Lacey. We don't forget her face, and that we remember her and all of this.
I agree. But I also have to say that I think you and I try very hard to remember the victim.
Yeah, well, and that's true too. Yeah.
We try.
We try. And I think I was telling somebody the other day, like, I enjoy watching the serial killer documentaries. And one of the main things I like about it is that it makes the victims real.
I like the psychology behind it.
Yeah. Seeing how they go from like a seemingly normal person to this crazy psycho is an interesting process, to think that this normalish person, how do they go from being a regular person to a killer?
I think
how does that transition happen? But then too, like I said, I love those documentaries because it gives faces and voices to their victims.
But I think Scott Peterson is a good example of how it could just happen. Because there was no warning signs. There was nothing.
No.
Lacey had no idea. And even she did have an idea that he was cheating with Amber. Like, it's different than any other serial case you'll hear.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think he's like really a serial killer, but
that's what I'm saying.
Infamous, but
well, because
at this point anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they put it's so hard.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, anyway, if you would like to discuss this further, that's something we think we missed, which I'm more than sure we did in this one. Because like I said, it's so confusing with all the Petersons.
Oh, wait, I'll admit to this. We recorded a whole show, and I was talking about one Peterson, and she was talking about this one. No problem. I'll admit to it.
Yeah, we didn't record the whole show. We got about a quarter of the way through, and Shay's like, no, wait, that's the wrong Peterson.
Yeah,
stop.
I had to stop. Nope. Yep. Wrong one. Oops.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes.
It happens. Like I said, that right now there are so many Petersons in the news that it's confusing. I think it's confusing for all of us. Anybody with the last name of Peterson is probably not someone you want to date at this point. So anyway, sorry to all the Petersons out there, but
sorry, I was trying not to spit out my drink. Yeah.
Sorry, maybe you should change your name if your last name's Peterson and you're trying to date somebody.
What is it? What's it? Drew, Michael, and what was it? Scott. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're famous for killing their wives.
Yeah.
Not that we should be proud and patting ourselves on the back, but that is the truth.
It seems like it.
No, it is.
Anyway, if you want to correct us on things that we've probably gotten wrong in this episode, go to our Facebook group, Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca and Shay, or go to paranormalbuzzradio.com and fill out the contact form and submit it. So
yeah, and we will answer. We're good.
Yep. And then if you want to come on and discuss it with us, absolutely, we would love to have you.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back 1 week or two at the most, and check us out. And thank you.
Thanks for listening.